I couldn't be here. What did I not do? I forgot to plug in the mic for Instagram. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm fidgeting with wires. See this here wire goes there. Hope you're having a great day. It is Wednesday. Today is a special episode because we're going to have our friends from the Jerry Agar Show up. It's always a pleasure to have them jump in, and they'll be on the stream talking about stuff and things. And actually, I've been trying to. They asked me a question about fixes, hacks. So we'll see where it goes. But it is Wednesday. What is it? The 8th of November. Watch says it's 8th. I am. We got Stephen Bell and Zombie. Good morning to you both. We will soon see if the Instagram actually works and comments show up on screen. So we've been working on this for a couple of days or a week already. Hopefully it works today. We'll see. Good morning to Richard, who says, good morning, Sean. Happy to see y'all here. We've got some stuff and things to talk about. We had Red Ribbon launch yesterday, which is, what was it? How do I best describe it? Well, you may notice, or you can't even see it. I got red ribbons on my microphone. This is where you can get red ribbons from MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. And you put them on your car. You tie them on. Now, I had an issue. We don't have antennas in our police cars. They're like these new fandangled versions, and there's nowhere to really put them. So we have stickers. We're going to use stickers instead. Hey, TikTok's working. Oh, awesome. Okay. How do I know TikTok's working? Because that's a TikTok message directly from TikTok. That's Ali saying, hey, Sean, I missed you. Well, I missed you too. Big Jeff Fresh coming in by YouTube. Good morning. Good morning. Ali says that they haven't been on TikTok in a minute. It's funny, I've spent less time recently on TikTok, both creating and consuming. Things have just been busy, so totally get it. That's just what's up. While I am here, let me very quickly, how do I do this without making horrible noise in your ear? I don't know. So this might get noisy. Hang on one second. I'm gonna just put it on the Instagram. Okay, I have no idea what kind of noise is gonna come up. We're gonna make sure the audio works. And it does work. Cool. Live and go. We'll have our friends join there. Hey, this is awesome. Emma, good morning. I got the right button. Hello from Jane and Finch. Master Technician is in the T dot. In the 6? He's in the 6. That sounds better. Yaz says good morning. We've got I am Boy Mom says good morning to M Shap, who's Mrs. TikTok traffic cop. The M Shap is not I am Boy Mom. Just clarifying. Let's see here. Blue's got a question. We've got lots of questions. Okay, I'm really excited. So before we get into stuff and things, let's talk about two things. How can you actually ask us questions? Where are we currently broadcasting? That sort of thing. Well, we are on the following channels, the following platforms. We're doing stuff and things in places that are important. We are on TikTok now, accepting messages directly, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Kick, and the platform formerly known as Twitter, now called X. And of course, if you're on X, you can't ask us questions, so we would ask you to come over to any of the other platforms where we can actually see your messages easily. Instagram is something that I can see when I look at the phone, but you can also have a better wide-angle experience if you jump over to our other platforms. Links to those if you go to trafficcop.ca. It's just so easy. Or if you want to avoid clicking twice, just type in youtube.trafficcop.ca. It really is that easy. Okay, we have Vision Zero. Before we get too deep into those stuff and things, let me scroll back here. We've got, November 8th posted. It's up on our Twitter page, and it goes out every day on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. If you want to know where our Vision Zero enforcement team is spending time changing driver behavior one ticket at a time, well, that is where you go. You'll get notified daily. Usually 6 a.m. is when the post goes out, or 6 a.m. on Twitter, 7 a.m. on Instagram, 8 a.m. on Facebook. But, you want the news first, go to Twitter. It's Traffic Services on Twitter, @Traffic Services. Anyway, the Vision Zero enforcement officers are focused on Vision Zero in 14 Division and 42 Division. Those are the neighborhoods of Christie, Ossington, Annex, Little Italy, Malvern, Agincourt, Milliken, Rouge, Scarborough. Now, that's actually not a complete list. That's just the hashtags that I found that were most trendy There are many, many neighborhoods, and they will be in the entirety of the division. But those are just some key division or neighborhoods that you might recognize. Now, if you think that you need to, if you know the divisions and you want your neighborhood represented, just send me a message so I can add you to the hashtag list. Is it weird? I just liked my own post. Anyway, now, what do we do? What is Vision Zero all about? Well, they're trying to change driver behavior. They're trying to get people to stop doing things that lead to serious injury and death. What kind of things? We focus on speeding, distracted driving, aggressive driving, and impaired driving because we know those things lead more often than not to danger, severe injury, and sadly, death as well. So, yeah, oddly enough, if you go fast, you have less time to respond to the changes up ahead. Yeah, bad things happen. Okay. Just a shout out, by the way, to the folks who received their 20 and 35-year pins. Auxiliary officers received a bunch of them. And yesterday, it looks like Joyce Kwok got hers, along with a number of other members. And congratulations to them. It's really great. Okay. We have, what do we got here? Let me close this. Let me close it so it's not distracting. So many distractions. Okay. We have, where can I pick up one of the Faraday bags? Oh, okay. Now maybe there's a plan. There's something that I'm not aware of. Well, obviously, if there's a free program, I don't know where those are. If you want to know where you can buy them, like I did, I just got them on that app that delivers things like next day to your door. I picked up a pair of Faraday bags from. What do I have? Mine are sitting next to the door at home, but it's Project Blackout is the product that I got. I think it's what it's called, and they're awesome. But they're not the only way to defend. It's one of many things to defend your vehicle from car theft. You make it so one style of car theft is addressed, and that's the one where they use a repeater. They basically relay the signal from your keys to your car, and that's one way. But there's other things you should do as well. The bright light, video cameras, the club, kill switches. Those are all things you could employ. But I will look into where you can get Faraday bags if there is, in fact, a program. And what I'll do is I will tweet about it. So follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, because I will put the information up if there is a program from Toronto Police for Faraday bags. I know we talked about it at one point, or divisions talked about it, so I'll find out. Okay. Ali wants to apply to TPS. What do you recommend to improve my odds when I apply? So this is a good question. And the answer is do everything. Okay. I know that's a pretty broad statement, but let's do everything. And by the way, a reminder, in about 15 minutes, we're going to be joined by Jerry Agar on News Talk 1010, and we'll be taking questions, I'm sure, from his audience by phone, as well as talking about whatever he brings up. So looking to apply for TPS. So the first thing to do is go to tps.ca/careers, and there you will find this page. And down, if you scroll, you will go to Police Constable, and then scroll down and look at all of your requirements. So you have to be able to meet the requirements. That's the first thing. Second to that is volunteerism is huge. Make sure you're volunteering. Don't be sitting around waiting for the job opportunity. Continue to develop yourself, maintain your physical, your skills and abilities. So being fit is important. You also want to contribute to the community. You want to serve. Yeah, that's what we do. It's a life of service. Policing is a life of service. So that is a place to start. And then, develop yourself, take courses, learn languages, whatever you can do to continuously make yourself better. All right. What do we got here? Okay, what is this question? Let's see what's going on. Pretend we are at a four-way intersection with 2 lanes in all directions and turn lanes. A green arrow is, and we got cut off. Okay, I can't answer your question because it's not complete. Matthew Woodlock, good morning to you from TikTok. It's so exciting to see TikTok, and I see a face. Is that your face? Good morning. Let's see here. This morning, this is from Zombie. This morning, an ambulance flew around a corner in the opposite lane in regards to flow of traffic, and the visibility of this corner is poor, and the ambulance almost smashed into me. My question is the ambulance had no sirens? Shouldn't they be required? So if they're driving in such a way that they are putting others at risk, then lights and sirens is a good thing because it tells people to stop. And then the issue is they shouldn't be driving in a dangerous way, period. even if you're lights and sirens, you really shouldn't be driving at such a speed that you're putting others at risk. So, can police go above the speed limit, lights and sirens, or even without? Yes. Uh, should ambulance and fire trucks be doing the same? No. I know it's a double standard, but there's different standards. Stephen Bell got a poppy and a Mad Ribbon Canada, or a Mad Canada ribbon. Awesome. Got a question. I'm trying to do these in order as best as possible. What are the rules on underglow? There's no specific rule. There's no underglow law. There are, however, rules about headlights and taillights and license plate lights and all that jazz. So in the absence of a specific underglow law, I can tell you that 360-degree light is not allowed in all colors. In other words, amber can be directed in any direction. That's yellow. When you're talking about headlights, you can only have light to the front projected in white or amber, or aka yellow. So if you had purple, green, orange, blue, that's a problem if it's visible from the front. Now, if you had the bulbs tucked way up underneath your vehicle and it was not visible from the front or back and only reflecting off of the ground, I don't see a problem with that. If it's projecting outward, that you're seeing it emitted from the bulb, that is a problem. You talk to Sergeant Campbell, and he will say, if I see it, it's projected at me, I'm giving you a ticket. So different perspectives. Every police officer is going to interpret the law. The law is written, and it's the interpretation of the law that is really enforced. And people will interpret things differently. And then it is up to you to defend it. So would you like to avoid problems? I wouldn't use underglow. Just because you have a 50-50 chance of meeting a Shapiro or a or a Campbell on the road, and it'll be interpreted based on the officer. So that's the thing. Oh, and to the rear, you can't have anything other than red or amber. So white light, green light, all these other colors are a problem. Okay, moving on. What is this? Is it legal for anyone other? What is this? Is it legal for anyone on the other side to take a right while I'm turning left? Is this a continuation? It is. It's Andrew McRae's continuation. So pretend we're at a four-way intersection with two-lane all direction and turn lanes. A green arrow is on. Is it legal for anyone on the other side to take a right while I'm turning? Yes. So, okay, so you're at the intersection. You have an advanced green to turn left. The person on the right has a red light because you have the advanced green. They have the ability to make a right turn on red if it's not signed prohibiting it or if it's safe to make the turn. They're obviously still responsible for making that turn safely. You are responsible to make the turn safely as well. However, they are more responsible to ensure that you complete and do your thing and that they don't interfere with you. Is that as clear as mud? They have to make sure it's safe to make the turn. They can turn, but they must make sure it's safe to do so. All right, moving along. Thanks for that question, and thanks for doing the two-part thing. Obviously, when you're on Twitch, you can write a book. So if you're frustrated by Twitter or TikTok, I should say, having a short or a small number of characters available to you, know that there are options in other platforms. We're also on LinkedIn, like everywhere. All of them have more, apparently. What do we got here? Zavizio, welcome back. He's on YouTube, or they're on YouTube. I don't actually know. I got to worry. It could be anybody. These names are just names. They don't come with any other descriptions. Okay. How much should we slow down in construction zones when there are workers present versus when there are not any workers? The deal is that if there is a posted speed limit, follow the posted speed limit. If it's a white sign, it's actually enforceable. If it's an orange sign, that's a suggestion. Still a good thing to do. I would totally endorse going the speed limit posted in orange. Although, if you go faster than that, there is no offense. You can't get a speeding ticket for going faster than a posted warning sign. It's just the right thing to do. Now, if you are to go over, like if we have a long-term installation for traffic or for reduced speed limits, we'll put up a temporary speed sign. That speed sign will be white. It's regulated. And if there are workers present and you speed there, fines are doubled. Okay. Okay. What are your thoughts on Barrie? They used to have a really good bar there when I was in high school. I have no idea. I don't go to Barrie. I have no information on Barrie. If you mean Barrie like the police service, also have no information on Barrie the police service. But I also don't know what you're asking me, so please be more specific. Let's see here. Okay. Here's a reasonable question about U-turns, and that is, hey, please help us. Please help to understand where we can U-turn. Of course, where there is no U-turn sign, we don't. So the law says you cannot make a U-turn where it's unsafe. So you must do it where it's safe. You, of course, can't do it within 150 meters of a no U-turn sign. But there's a bunch of other places. For instance, bridges, viaducts, tunnels, can't do them there. You can't do them in and around, what is it called? Railway crossings. You can't do them where there's no clear line of sight due to a curve or what's it called? What's the word I'm looking for? Grade. So if there's a hill and you can't see on the other side of it, you can't do a U-turn. It's all about safety. I don't like U-turns. Have I done them? Yes. Will I do them again? Probably. But they are less safe than doing other things like making a number of right turns, going around the block, turning into private property, making a safe change of direction on private property, and then re-entering the roadway in the direction you want to as safely as possible. I see way too many collisions as a result of U-turns, and I also see them causing people to not be around anymore. And that's pretty sad. We've had police officers who lost their lives as a result of someone else making a U-turn. It's just what it is. So the less safe option is a U-turn. Now, people do them in intersections. If there's a sign that says you can do them, you can. If there's a sign that says you can't do them, you can't. Now, in the absence of a sign giving you permission to do them, does that mean you can't do them? No. But people do them on red lights, which is insanity. I do not understand that. Okay. What is this? Oh, here's a question from Richard. An ATV was stunt driving, spinning tires. By my open school bus door during a school bus stop yesterday morning. Well, first of all, you're not in Toronto because that would not be permissible anywhere in Toronto. That is stunt driving, and it is a vehicle. If you were on the road, and they were on the road, and in some jurisdictions you can have ATVs on the road. That even on private property, that ATV could be, or that operator could be charged with stunt driving. How are you guys dealing with all the protests in Toronto right now? I have no connection to that. I know that we do have it all being monitored. We have lots of police presence to these things to ensure people can be safe, to what is it, monitor and keep the peace. Yeah, so I know that we are out there and we're definitely working on it, and things have been good from what I understand. I've not heard any of anything going sideways. Let's see here. All right. Oh. Thorn the Hedgehog says, these videos and you are awesome. Keep up the good work. Thanks very much. Landon Lawton wants to know more about Barrie. I don't have any reference. They don't like Barrie apparently, or you're concerned about Barrie, but I don't have any reference for that, so I couldn't tell you. I haven't been to Barrie in probably 10 years. Okay. I just as a caveat, a lot of people asking questions about protests and the current conflict in the Middle East and perceptions. I don't. This is a traffic channel, and we're going to keep the conversation on traffic messages. So, as much as I understand that a lot of people that are being affected, I think we all are to some degree, regardless of where you sit in politics. But we're not going to turn this into a conversation about that. So I apologize. I will ignore anything about that conflict. When going over the limit, can I be charged with disobeying a sign plus the speeding ticket? Interesting. I've never laid a charge for disobey sign in relation to speeding because the speeding really covers it. But I think it's interesting. Are you giving me ideas here? Are you trying to get me to write more tickets? Could you technically? I think you probably could. I don't think you. We're not in the business of just making up charges or doubling down on charges. Like for tinted windows, could I charge a driver for every window that's tinted? Technically, yeah, I think I could, but I wouldn't. If you're displaying, let's see, what's another good example? Dirty plate and a obscured plate. Could I lay both charges? Because they're sort of, I could, but I wouldn't. Like, we write reasonable charges. Now, if there are two very distinct things different, like you were stunt driving and you had covered plates, yeah, I'd write you for both of those, but they're separate offenses. The same offense twice, that doesn't make sense. Let's see here. Okay. So questions about Faraday cages or comments about Faraday cages. That might in fact work. A Faraday cage, which these bags are, and usually have one on my desk, but I don't today. They prevent radio signals from getting through. And a lot of people have brand new equipment that are, in the case of an EMP blast or solar flares, they keep brand new equipment stored in Faraday cages to prevent, so they could be usable in the event of. So that's different reason for it. But anyway, the interesting stuff. I don't know if tin foil would work or not. Okay. According to Akila Draconis, if Weather Network is to be believed, we will have snow and freezing rain this afternoon, and I still don't have my winter tires on. Dough. That's not a good dough. I can't do it. I don't do the Homer Simpson dough. So let's talk about snow and winter tires. I just had mine put on yesterday. Shout out to my tire guys because I don't do it myself anymore. I used to. Got all the equipment to do it, but I have a back that no longer likes me, so I don't do it. And the deal is that I feel good about the fact that I actually beat the first snowfall. I have not always timed this very well. So our snow tires, or I should say winter tires, because it's not about snow. I keep getting stuck calling them snow. They're winter tires. It's really a temperature thing. When the temperatures hover consistently around 7 degrees and below, definitely time to put them on if you got them. If you've never had them, then you just don't know how good life can be. I totally endorse the use of them. I think they're great on my personal vehicles. I use them and have used them since I became a dad, because that is what my wife said. We no longer mess around. We don't take chances with safety. And I got to tell you, having driven my entire life on all seasons and then switching this to winters, it's a big difference. It really is. And I'll never go back. Let's see here. What we got here. Zero wants to know about driving with no front license plate in Ontario. Well, if you are from another province that doesn't issue two plates, it's legal. If you are an Ontario driver with an Ontario registered vehicle with 2 plates being issued, because that's what we do here, then you're obligated to. It's a $110 fine if you fail to display both plates. If you put it in the wrong place, it's a $110 fine. Yeah, you got to have both plates. They have to be visible in the regulated area. And it's for good reason. It's argued all the time that it's not necessary, that we shouldn't need to have a second plate. And yet it's law, and you're obligated to follow it. Yeah, what else can I tell you? You got to have it. And putting it on the front dashboard is not the appropriate place. Front of the vehicle in a conspicuous place, because it has to be visible. Is it legal to drive with your high beams on? Well, it depends on what you mean. Technically, your daytime running lights are more often than not your high beams on low power. So if someone forgets to turn on their full head lighting system, they are actually running on their high beams. And I see it all the time. I see a lot of ghost cars. In fact, I was trying to communicate with somebody, and it didn't work last night. I was trying to get them to turn their lights on. They were too busy dancing while going northbound on Bathurst from downtown. They were like literally bouncing, and they did not have any lights on, and it was really, really annoying. And all I wanted to do was scream, but they couldn't hear me. I think the music was too loud. What am I trying to get at? High beams are a separate issue. If they're truly high beams with the full headlight system on, you can't put them on. You have to turn them off within 60 meters behind somebody and 150 meters in front. It is an offense under the Highway Traffic Act if you are blinding people with your high beams. So what do we have here? I always forget what they are. So lower beam is my search key. Lower beam. Failed to use lower beam. Oncoming. 150 meters. Did I say 150 meters? Following. 60 meters. I think I got it right. If I got it wrong, and I can't remember 3 seconds ago, let me know. Did I get it right or did I get it wrong? 150 and 60 meters. So it's illegal if you don't. $110 fine, 2 demerit points. That's a bad day at the office. Just people should be using them appropriately. So it is illegal. Let's see here. Roy Boy wants to know, what can I do if a police officer is violating my rights? Can I call another officer without any trouble? Well, Roy, what kind of rights are being violated? You may interpret it as a violation. It may not be. I can't imagine that a police officer who is recording everything on their video camera and everything will be questioned afterwards, and you have all the rights in the world to complain after the fact. My suggestion is comply with the officer. You may think it's not appropriate, but it probably is. Obviously, I don't know what you're alleging or what your scenario involves, but if you've got a question, the time to argue it is not at the side of the road. I would comply, do what you got to do, get your charges, or complain to a sergeant at the next. But asking for somebody else to show up because you don't like the answer of the first person doesn't usually work very well. And you're better off. There's a record of everything. We record everything 6 ways. We got a car microphone, a car camera, an on-person camera. Like, if your rights are truly being violated, complain after. Okay. Does volunteering at my mosque and being a Scouts leader count towards that? Ali, if you're talking about, and I'm sure you are because we were talking about employment, volunteering in your community, whether it be at your mosque or as a Scouts leader, are awesome ways to serve your community, and that is absolutely something that will be a credit to your application for the police service. We talked about it a little while ago, and we're behind schedule. I just realized that we should have any minute now. Let me just email. Maybe there's some breaking news delaying them. Boom, boom, boom. Stand by. Because usually we have them in here, and I just totally forgot about them. Yes, the world of radio. Donnie, let me see here. You okay? This is the message I'm sending. Might as well send them the link again. Invite guests, copy. Yes, this is the not so. All right, send it to them again. Let us see. So we're just standing by. Hopefully in the next couple of minutes, we're going to see our friends jump into the stream. I was going to go into a whole thing, but you know what? I'll take the opportunity to say and reintroduce and tell people what we're talking about here. My name is Sean Shapiro, police officer with the Toronto Police Service, and I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff every single day. Like even when I'm off duty, that's my thing. I entertain myself all the time. We'll be joined shortly with Jerry Agar on News Talk 1010, 416-872-1010, and text at 71010 if you want to ask some questions. And we'll see what's going on here. Should I text them too? Maybe. Okay. Wrong phone. Okay, we'll just wait for the email. All right, moving along while we wait. Is it illegal? It's a very serious question here from Thorin the Hedgehog. Is it illegal to use the windshield water spray to brush my teeth while on the 401 if I'm late to work? I think that's one of the more creative suggestions for those fluids. I don't think it's probably not healthy. Never mind. How would you actually get it into? Anyway, I don't know. Is it like what was that? The flossing device? What was that called? Anyway, moving along. Let's see here. We got questions. Scott Massey is here. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, okay. So somebody getting stopped for a license plate light because it left a high crime area. If that was the example or the question relating to violating of rights, if you don't have a license plate light, that is a legitimate reason to pull you over. You may interpret it because you're leaving a high crime area, but that's a legitimate charge. If you don't have a white light over your license plate that's 3 candela or more power, well, it's a limitation of 3 or is that a minimum of 3? Regardless, yeah, that is an absolutely legitimate reason to pull. That's not violating someone's rights. Is it legal to have an OEM sport muffler? So aftermarket sport muffler, it's about having a legal muffler. That's the question. So you could have a muffler that is compliant with the law, no problem. But if it's non-compliant, if it's breaking the rules, then it's a problem. Let's see here. Just double checking if they get a response yet. Okay. Can I? Someone wants to know if they can become a police officer with a DUI on their record. I think that if you were convicted criminally, you would have a hard time. You can't have a conviction that you don't have a pardon for. So then, no, you couldn't be. I would go off and say that you couldn't be a police officer if you had a criminal conviction for impaired operation. Can you make a U-turn at a red light or at a light? Yes, not a red light. So if it's a green light and it's safe to do so and there's no sign prohibiting, then there's no law saying you couldn't. Assuming all the other things, hey, it's News Talk. What's going on? Here we go. Hello there. We've brought them into the stream, but we don't hear them yet. Hello, hello. Okay, we were worried about you.
Ooh, we are good.
Awesome.
You'll be up in about 2 minutes and 45 seconds.
Okay, if you keep us in silence, we'll keep the channel open, and when Jerry's voice is heard, we'll just stop talking.
Sounds good.
Awesome, thanks. Okay, they made it. So Jerry Agar on News Talk 1010 will be joining us in about 2 minutes, and we'll be joining them, and that's what we do. So if you want to call into the show, you can get them at 416-872-1010 or text 71010 with your questions, and of course, we'll discuss them live here, which is cool. You know, it's funny. I've heard people in the chat hop over, and we've actually had them on the radio in Toronto. It's so cool. I love radio. I don't know if you even listen to radio out there on the interwebs, but to me, it's very cool. Yeah, I know. I'm a geek. Okay, moving on to spend 2 minutes talking about something else while we wait. Reading questions really quickly. How is it legal for TTC buses to have bike racks on the front blocking their plight, especially with 2 bicycles mounted? You can't block the plates. It's not legal. If they're blocking their plates, they're violating the offense. They're committing an offense in that moment. It is not one of the most enforced offenses, gotta say, for anybody. You know, we're not out there hunting down people with license plates that are temporarily blocked. If we can't see them, it is a problem. They are very often counseled before charged. But we're out there looking for the big 4. We focus on speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, impaired driving. Are we allowed to have, here's a question. Am I allowed to daily drive my 515 fully built engine with long tube header? I don't know about long tube header. I'm not a mechanic. 550 horsepower isn't, there's stock vehicles that have that. So you're not driving something that is so, out there. It's just a car with, aren't there stock Mustangs that have that? So you just got to be compliant with your muffler. Matthew wants to know about buying a used police car. Any rules? They can't say. I don't know if it specifically says at the moment in Ontario. There's no rule about having something that says police. I wouldn't want to be mistaken for driving a police car when I wasn't driving a police car, because when I'm in a police car, I probably have a gun. You don't have a gun when hopefully you don't have a gun while you're driving a used one, which means if someone decided to take out or didn't like police, you'd make yourself a target. That's not a good thing. Okay. Abdullah wants to know about if speeding and camera radar caught me, can the officer give me another ticket? Yeah, they can. First of all, we don't know. The ticket hasn't been issued yet. When the camera catches you, and there's no guarantee that the camera caught you or will issue a ticket. The officer catching you will absolutely guarantee that the ticket is issued so that you can be charged. You could certainly take your ticket to court and say, hey, I got charged by a police officer. I shouldn't be double charged. And I think
you're listening to Jerry Agar on the iHeartRadio Talk Network.
Welcome. Thanks for being along. It's time again for a visit with the TikTok traffic cop. Sean Shapiro is with Traffic Safety Programs, Traffic Operations. He's on TikTok all the time, talking about whatever you want to talk about, answering your traffic questions. And we take the opportunity every couple of weeks to dip in. Sean Shapiro, good morning.
Good morning, Jerry. How's it going?
Going well. You got traffic questions. It's 416-872-1010, 872-1010. Toll free, 877-518-5151, 877-518-5151, and text us at 71010. Sean, I want to start with this article from CTV News in Ottawa. I couldn't write a headline like this. It says, you can get a ticket for using cling film in place of your windshield. And the picture that goes along with it says, look, somebody has tried to fill in on a broken windshield with cling film and duct tape. Looks like Red Green fixed the car.
I think Red Green would have done a lot better myself. But,
yeah, that's right. He's better. He's handy with duct tape.
Yeah. I was shocked. I saw that video and I no words. I mean, how someone could get on the road and not think that is a bad idea is beyond me. You know, I've seen some wild things. I've seen but I've never seen anything quite that extreme. So I've got nothing that competes with it or that would stand a chance of winning. But yeah, when you take out your vehicle on the road, you've got to ensure that it's safe. not just for you as a driver, but for other people. And charging someone for an unsafe vehicle, absolutely a good way to handle it. Take them off the road.
Well, what's the ticket for that?
It's actually no set fine. There's a range on conviction. We seize the plates. The vehicle can't be driven. You'd have to get it safetied, reapply for plates, and then if it was compliant, you'd be getting plates again. But it's quite a range, and I'm sure that the fine could be up to $2,000, if not more.
Okay, but I was also asking, I guess I should have said, what's the charge? Is it an unsafe vehicle?
Oh, it's operate unsafe motor vehicle.
Yeah, it's still funny to look at.
Oh, but there's so many vehicles that people make less safe because they attach things to them. I've seen some vehicles on the road where they've got things like super glued to the hood. They change the way that your vehicle handles, not just the fact that it could blow off or become dislodged and hurt someone, but if you hit a pedestrian and you happen to have all sorts of figurines all over your vehicle, that's a concern.
Okay. Like I have seen people try to put some sort of plastic using duct tape over a side window. I've never seen it on a windshield like this, but here is Johnson from Markham. Johnson, welcome. Go ahead with your question.
Hi there. I had a question regarding my G2. So am I legally allowed to drive with my G2 but no insurance?
Okay. The vehicle that you operate must be insured in order for it to be on the road. You don't have to necessarily be on a policy to drive the vehicle as long as you're borrowing a car with permission that has the insurance. Now, insurance companies are private in Ontario, which means they may set rules. So if you're living with the person who owns the car, they want you to be insured as an occasional driver, and they may deny you a claim if you don't do that. But if you were to borrow somebody else's vehicle or rent a car, it's perfectly legal.
Okay, so if I would want to use my parents', I'd have to be on their insurance?
Yeah, not only would the insurance company want you to do that, you're actually building a history with them, so it's a good thing. It's not terribly expensive to add. I don't know. I can't rate what's affordable, but it is something that they would probably require. At very least, contact the insurance company and ask.
Thanks, Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, appreciate your call. Here is Peter from Scarborough.
Hey, how are you? So question about, I got a warning once from an officer that I had, the black plastic license plate cover that comes from the dealership. The bottom had the dealership name. Let's say it's at Toyota of Toronto. And the officer told me, well, that's covering the part of your plate that says yours to discover. So he gave me not a ticket, but a warning. And he said, you need to get that changed. So what I'm wondering is, why are dealerships allowed to, first of all, put that on if I have to take it off? And second of all, I replaced it, but what does the warning mean? If I never replaced it, if I get pulled over again, do I get a ticket? Like, how does that work?
So warning is just that. It's a documenting of the event that you were told. So the next officer could give you another warning, or they could choose to not give you a warning. It just gives them information to determine what they're going to do. And that just stays in our system that you've been warned. Is it against the law? It is against the law to cover your plate in any way, whether it be a clear plastic cover or just the frame. All of them are interfering with the plate. And why can the dealership put it on? Well, they're putting it on their private property. You're driving with it. And the offense there's no offense for putting it on. There's no regulation for plastic ownership. But as soon as you block your plate, you've committed an offense.
Thanks, Peter.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, here's part of that I don't understand. Who cares if it covers yours to discover? It's the number you need to see.
True, and the yours to discover and the Ontario on top help us to differentiate whether or not it's an Ontario plate. Some other plates look very similar, but they're not Ontario plates, and it adds to the confusion. When it comes to, do we issue a ton of these tickets? Frankly, it's not high on our priority list. We do enforce it, but we've got bigger fish to fry.
You know what I like is when I ask a somewhat indignant question and then there's a good answer for it. I actually like that. Here is Ryan from Tottenham.
Good morning. Thanks for taking my call. I have a question. I witnessed street racing on the 400 recently, and I'm wondering, is that a 911 call?
If you think that safety of the public and even the participants is at high risk, then absolutely, it's a judgment call. It wouldn't be wrong. Two cars driving fast seems to be every day on the 404 and the 400 series highways. So, if you think there's a risk, absolutely, it's worthy of a call.
Thank you.
All right. I'm going to tell you this really quickly, Sean. I did say it on the air, but I was down in Dallas with my son, and I'll tell it quickly. We were going north on Highway 75, and he had waited for me to finish my work, so he was in a bit of a hurry. And the speed limit is 70 miles an hour. Everybody was approaching 80 pretty much, but we were all flowing at the same speed. All of a sudden, a guy in a Mustang just blew by us. We couldn't even imagine how fast he was going. And my son says, I like that guy because he's going to draw the attention of the police and leave the rest of us alone. And about 30 seconds after my son said that, we saw the lights pop on, and that guy got pulled off the road. It's a satisfactory experience, Sean.
I'll tell you, I drive the speed limit everywhere. I know people don't believe me when I say it, but I drive the speed limit, and I watch people do wild and crazy things as they pass me, and I love nothing more than watching them get pulled over.
All right. Follow-up question somebody sent in to the caller a moment ago about a warning. How long does a warning issued by an officer stay on file?
So a printed warning stays in our system indefinitely, as far as I know, which means we'd be able to see that warning show up in our system if we ever pulled you over again.
All right. Here is Lisa from Newmarket.
Hello.
Hi, go ahead.
So good morning. My follow-up question regarding plates. What about the license plates that have no paint left on them? They're completely peeled off and they are illegible or partially illegible. What's happening in regards to that?
They fall into the same category. If you have a dirty or illegible plate, it is absolutely an offense. Now, there is an avenue for folks who have those. If there's a warranty that covers them for 5 years, so you can take them to the ministry and get them replaced. But if you're caught driving with one, you're absolutely at risk of getting a ticket.
Well, I think they're a safety hazard. I think there needs to be something stronger dealing with those because. I
don't disagree with you.
Right?
It is important to both police to be able to identify vehicles, people who choose not to stay at collisions. There's all sorts of reasons we have to be able to identify vehicles, and now we have automatic license plate readers as well.
Right.
So we do
but
enforce
me as
it.
a driver, I need to identify if I'm having
100%.
a situation with that, and I can't read these plates half the time.
100%.
Why they're still on the road?
Sadly, the speeding, aggressive driving, impaired driving, and distracted driving are a higher priority. So while we do enforce these, we just don't put all of our officers on that. If we did, we'd never stop writing.
Okay.
All right. Sometimes people assume, we run into this all the time, because they see several instances of something happening, they assume nobody is enforcing it, but that's not necessarily the case.
We do issue a ton of tickets for those offenses, but truly, it's probably every other car. And if we're out there looking for specific offenses and we pulled over every car with a peeling or covered plate, we'd never stop doing that. We'd never be able to focus our efforts on the people who are putting lives at risk.
All right. Somebody's asking here, if you can't drive with your windshield out and you've covered it up with cling foam or something, can you drive with the Jeep's front window down?
It's a very good question. They do have the ability to fold them down. I don't want to give you an answer to that because I'm not entirely sure. I think you have to have the windshield up, but it may not be required. They may have to put a helmet on if they do that.
And is it legal for a dog to stick their head out of the window?
It's really not good for their health, apparently. I've been told that.
Okay. Thanks very much.
All the best. Take care.
All right. This is the iHeartRadio Talk Network.
And that was that. Another magical experience with our friends at News Talk 1010. Let me change the design. It's funny. If I don't know, I don't like to speculate, and I cannot remember if I've seen anything about the windshields. There are vehicles like was it the Boomerang? Is it a Boomerang? There's some kind of something or other, but they are required to wear helmets in that vehicle. It's a three-wheeled motorcycle. They probably can drive with no windshield, but that was a dangerous situation, the one they had. Wow, the plastic wrap was bad. And Zombie put up a message addressing that before we even talked about it with Jerry, which is too funny. Here, look at that. See, on the money, like at 20 after. If you're watching, you don't know who I am. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service. I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff because I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service working in traffic safety programs. So what do? We talk about stuff and things. There you go. Let's go here and see. Some people don't like laws. I see that. Oddly, it's so funny. The username is Hippie Life, and they said your so-called laws are only policy. No, they're actually laws. Mind you, different laws in different countries, states, provinces. Everyone's got their own. Yours may not. Maybe where you are, you have policy. Here, we actually have laws. Okay. Stephen Bell would like the London Police and the OPP to go live. I've had OPP here. London Police is a bit of a drive, but I'm not against having guests from anywhere. Actually, I've even had London City Police or City of London Police. We had an officer who's now a friend of mine who came down and was on the show. Let's see here. What is this? Oh, okay. Boom, boom, boom. All right. Trying to scroll through and get, can you use hands-free touchscreen in your car while driving? So this is I got to flesh this out. So hands-free, people, I saw a woman driving yesterday holding her phone like this and driving. And I thought it was a Mercedes. It was actually an old Pontiac convertible. If you drive a Pontiac hardtop convertible, get a Bluetooth. I saw you yesterday. Or was it the day before? Anyway, I saw them. I think it was Monday, actually. What am I trying to get at? That's not hands-free. Speakerphone and hands-free are not synonymous. You cannot have it in your hands. In fact, even if you weren't on the phone, just holding your phone, that's considered use according to law. So you get a good $615 ticket if you were in the province of Ontario and seen by me. Yeah. Okay. What do we got here? Radica. Is a left turn allowed on a double yellow line? I see people do this all the time holding up traffic. A left turn on a double yellow. Can you cross a double yellow line? Here's the deal. Double yellow lines, single yellow lines, are suggestions, and the color denotes what's on the other side of the line. So if you're crossing a yellow line, know that traffic is coming at you. If you cause a collision because you crossed the line, that's on you. Is there an offense in the province of Ontario for touching and crossing the line? No. However, there are sometimes signs that say you can't do it, and crossing the line when a sign is present would be against the law. The only lines that I know of that have an offense associated with them in Ontario alone are the HOV lines. The lane lines, the double hash mark, or the double line with the hash marks inside, that's an offense for crossing those and misusing the lane and all sorts of things. Let's see here. We got Greg Marshall says, good morning. Good morning to you. Is there any laws? This is Kadaya? Kadia. Okay. If I butchered the pronunciation of your name, I apologize. I'm trying. Are there any laws on music volume in cars? And the answer is yes. It's not what number dial you're at on your gizmo. The issue is that you cannot create unnecessary noise. That noise could be stereo, honking your horn, squealing your tires, loud muffler, all the same thing, charge that they're eligible for. But you can't take over the streets with music, and that would be against the law. So $110 fine, and I don't think it feels good to get it. I've never had it. I just imagine any ticket sucks. What is this? Is it illegal to use your automatic headlight dimming system, high beam, low? What? I don't know what this is. Automatic headlight dimming system, high beam, low beam. I'm not familiar with this system. If there is a system in place that automatically dims or brings your headlights down so you don't blind oncoming, if it's not doing what the law says it can't do by effectively switching your headlights, I don't see why it would be a problem. But I truly am not familiar with an automated feature. Yeah. There you go. Let's see here. Oh, Joseph, my buddy Joseph, put up a video today that I'm in. I think he's going to put up at very least a video that I'm in. So I will share that when it is. We went for a bite to eat, and we filmed it. We'll share it. You can get that on VoiceOver Cop on Instagram as well as his channel, and it's Joseph Divinidictus. I didn't pronounce that right because I think I typoed it. Did I typo it on his card here? I thought it was, anyway, I did typo it here. I added a V where there was supposed to be a B. Moving on. Okay, do you have to indicate on a roundabout in Canada? So laws are provincial. Every province has different laws. I can tell you that when you are changing the direction of your vehicle, you have to indicate. Now, a roundabout, when you're entering it, you're just following the path of the road. So you don't have to signal when you go in, but you are changing the direction when you're exiting. Thus, you do have to signal on the way out. And I do not see people doing that. Okay. Josh wants to know if I foresee blue plates being scrapped. Or sorry, front plates being scrapped. We're seemingly behind most places in that regard. So when Doug Ford came into office, the first thing he looked at was cutting license plate costs. You saw him do it by getting rid of the stickers and renewal fees, but stickers has a cost involved. So that was a cost savings. The front plate was reviewed, and it was determined because that it was not a good thing to get rid of it. That in fact you have twice the opportunities to identify a motor vehicle if you have two plates, which makes a lot of sense. So we kept them. It was actually I believe he spoke to the Ontario Association of Chiefs of Police, and the one of the I don't know if it was as a group, came back and said two plates are better than one. So we got them, and I'm glad that we do. Let's see. So I don't think we're going to get rid of them. That's my long, windy version of the answer. Amon wants to know if I have. Oh, let's see here. Hi, if I have all season tires on my car except winter tires, is there any ticket for that? If you have all season tires, there's no winter tire regulation or requirement in the province of Ontario. If you're in Quebec, you're legally obligated to have winter tires. They have wild winters there. So I think it should be mandatory for everybody, but it's not. And until it is, there's no. Now you have to have proper tread depth. You have to have proper tires that are safe for the road. But you don't have. You can have all seasons, and they do have true all seasons. Like most of the time, in all seasons, really a 3-season tire. But now they call them 4-season tires. Some manufacturers are apparently better than others. I am not a tire guy. Like I don't know enough about tires. Is this Greg Marshall responding to Run Once, who says this is a Canadian-based show. It is Ontario, Canada, TorontoPolice.ca. It even says so on the screen in my background. Maybe it's not easy for on the small phone. Maybe. Okay. I would mute some people if it was not risk of crashing the platform. I did it once, and then everything went dark. So some people have a voice here, even though they're just completely useless. Okay. I'm getting my winter tires on in an hour. Fantastic. Ja wants to know, how do you become a cop? Will you apply? And before we move on to other stuff, and I'll keep this show going longer because that's just what I do. But I want to bring up that there are some opportunities to work with our service, and they're not all police opportunities, not police officer opportunities. There's options here. There's lots of things you can do. So in terms of becoming a police officer, the best place to start your investigation, your research, is to go to www.tps.ca/careers. That's the first thing. Secondly, you go to that page, it'll bring you to this one. See, scroll down. You can look at police constable, special constable, parking enforcement officer, communications operator, and then there's civilian roles. Oh, and a quick shout out to volunteer youth programs. Yes, that's where I started. I was a volunteer. I was a checkerhead. See that hat band? It's a checkerhead. That's the officer you're dealing with is in fact an auxiliary officer, and that is awesome. I started out as an auxiliary. Fantastic way to volunteer and contribute to your community. I wholly endorse it if you're looking for something that's good to do. You don't necessarily want to give up your current career, but you want to try out, wearing a uniform and really seeing your city, your community differently. But there's not a paid system, it's a volunteer. But there are other job opportunities that are civilian that have nothing to do with uniforms. Currently, there's a posting for payroll coordinator. Cool. Communications operator. That's a heavy duty. That's a really very specific job, communications operator. And they're the folks who take our calls from 911, and also dispatch police officers to calls for service. A very technical job, from my understanding. I watch them in awe. There's tons of things they need to do. Look at this. I have 2 monitors, and it's too much. They have 3 monitors? I mean, come on. There's a lot to do. It is very tough. So, but a great job opportunity for those who are looking for something and may not be interested in being a uniformed officer on the road. Just saying, there's options. Okay, let's get back into some questions. Okay. Not sure what, I can't scroll. Oh, wow, interesting. I guess there are so many questions that I can't go back further than a certain number. Let's see here. A question of, is it illegal to ride a bike across a zebra crossing? If you mean by zebra crossing, you are riding on a pedestrian crosswalk, then it would be illegal in the city of Toronto. Okay. Is it dangerous driving to brake check? So dangerous driving is a criminal charge under the under the Criminal Code of Canada, and that is it's criminal intent. You're choosing to pull in front of somebody and cause harm. It also qualifies for stunt driving. So whether you could lay both or just lay one is going to be up to the officer, but certainly you'd be eligible for both of those. And that's where you, again, pull in front of somebody and hammer the brakes because you're trying to send a message, or just hammering the brakes to cause them to hammer theirs, like even if there was no lane change involved. A brake check is not legal. Now, I will say this: if you're following with a safe distance, like you're keeping a safe distance from the vehicle in front of you, there's less likelihood that the brake check is going to occur. Doesn't make it right. It means that but one thing I will say is get a dash cam. Everyone should have a dash cam. Okay. Is it illegal to flash high beams to warn people about police speed enforcement? It's illegal use. If you're within the 150 meters oncoming traffic, it's absolutely illegal. But the bigger issue, in my opinion, is why are you doing it? Because what you're doing is you're warning people to temporarily change their behavior to avoid getting a ticket. But what you're really doing is you're causing people to not get caught, so they just keep doing the same thing 5 minutes later. You're putting lives at risk. You want that person, or at least I would think you'd want that person, to get caught, so they change their driving behavior, and maybe you save a life by not warning them. Just saying. Elvin says, made it. Well, welcome to the show. Glad you got it. I don't know what this was Scott was referring to when he says comply and keep quiet. Not sure what you're talking about. I can't scroll back that far, so I'm hoping to not lose too many people to the scroll. What about plates with no tags? Now, when you call it no tags, I'm assuming you're in the States, because we don't really call them tags here. In Canada, or in Ontario specifically, we don't put tags anymore. Renewal tags or validation stickers are no longer a thing. It's all electronic. You do it online. If you don't renew, you get a ticket, $110. But tags in the States, I don't know how that would handle it in your state. I do have a suggestion for you. So Robot says, I'm driving on a posted speed limit. I guess doing the posted speed limit. I have cars behind me tailgating me. Any suggestions? Well, if you have the ability to move over to the right in a lane, not pull off the road, but just stay to the right lane, get out of their way. If they're going to break the law, let them break the law, and they won't harass you if they pass you. The deal is, though, that if you are having somebody really on your rear end, I casually slow down. I don't hit the brakes. I lift my foot off the gas and start to slow down a little bit, and that allows them to get the hint that they're not going to bully me into going faster, and they will be able to pass me at the first opportunity, which may be crossing over the center lane into the oncoming lanes to pass if it's a 2-lane road. Whatever the case is, I'm not going faster because they're going to, they decide to be bullies on the road, and that's what they are. Why do police always park in the bike lane? They're going to park wherever they have to respond to a call for service, and they can do that legally. Okay. Where can I pay my ticket if the website says it's not posted yet? It takes about 4 business days to show up on the system. So you can try again, and then you can do it online. And if it won't show up there, you can go to the courthouse. Question was, and it's coming in too quick, so it's disappeared already. Am I on light duties? Yes, I am. I was injured in a collision a while back, and I am not on the road as a result of those injuries. Okay. Elvin says 24 hours. Yeah, 24 hours and try again is good. Okay. Oh, why did the tint... Oh, here we go. Why did the tint across the top of the windshield become ticketable? I think they just drew a line in the sand and said anything after 2017 or 2017 and newer, it's illegal. I think it's also due to sensors. Any mechanics in the room can spot or can discuss that. Apparently, there's some sensors that are now there that they don't want to block. But for whatever the reasons are, that's the line in the sand. 2016 and older, you can have them. 3 inches from the top of the window, and or from the top of the window 3 inches, or to the PS1. Is it PS1 line? Why not PS2 line? I don't know. It's turning into a game console. Whatever the mark on the 3 inches is the max. We talked about this. Someone wants to know if they can become a police officer with a DUI conviction. The answer is no, not here anyway. You can't. If you had a conviction that you were pardoned for, they'll look at that. My understanding is no other charges. But you could talk to the recruiting unit to get an absolute answer on that. But my understanding is no. If I have my own insurance, can I drive my friend's car without being on their insurance? So, Cody, if the car is insured and you're a licensed driver, you can drive it on their insurance, because in Ontario, it's the vehicle that is insured, not the person. That said, if you're going to be, if you have your own insurance, could your insurance cover the damages? My understanding is you could put a binder from their insurance to your insurance. Let's see here. Does my insurance go up if someone hit my parked car on the street? Yeah, if someone hit your parked car on the street and you can't pin it on anybody else's, it could affect you if you're making a claim. Absolutely. This is where cameras are so great and witnesses are fantastic. And the sad truth is, if you make a claim, your insurance company could increase your rates. Oh, thank you very much, Richard. The water pick. I hit the button too late. Water pick was the answer that I was looking for, and he gave it to me. We're 30 minutes behind on questions, by the way. Okay. I'm going to skip ahead. Someone says, go do your job. I love it when people tell me to do my job. I'm doing it. Thanks very much. I'm a member of the Traffic Safety Programs Unit, and part of that is media relations and social media. Ali says, just want to say, Sean, you inspired me to join TPS. I hope we get to meet you one day as an officer. I am so happy to hear that. So many folks have said similar things, and it really means a lot. I appreciate you sharing that with me. And I do wish you the best of luck joining, and definitely look me up when you're on, and I'm sure you will definitely get to that one day. Let's see here. Ian wants to know if you can fail the polygraph even if you're just nervous. I don't have any experience with the polygraph. Ontario doesn't require one, so I've never done one, but I've heard rumors of things of that nature as well. Let's see here. Apparently Lola needs to see spam. Lola, stop spamming, you've been told. Someone came into the office and said, is this your emergency can of spam? Kayla Draconis gave me this can of spam at Honda Indy just so I could tell people not to spam. Okay, let's see here. Moving down, I got to try and get ahead of some of these. Tickets, school zones ticket is so lame, so much problems, and you're all out here giving tickets. We have a lot of problems. We have criminal issues and we have non-criminal issues, and they all affect real people. So giving out problems for people who or tickets for people who are choosing to put lives at risk is not lame. Because they said, this is Benji says, ticket is so lame. It's not lame. It's trying to change driver behavior. If you don't want tickets, drive following the law. It's so simple. Rayudius says they don't make the laws, they enforce them. It's true. Tim Shallow, good morning. Good to see you. I know this a little while ago, but I appreciate the Tim is a longtime friend of the show. Okay. Lots of sidebar here. Bungee cord holding the parking brake. You've seen that on the road? That's not good. This is on the topic we were chatting with Jerry Agar earlier about the saran wrap covering the windshield. Yeah, not good. Bungee cord holding parking brake, also not good. What is this? Delusion. Oh, we got lots of sidebar here. A lot of people don't like the government, apparently. Okay, moving on. This is actually good. I can skip all this stuff. and get on to real questions. My safety, my choice. So this is an argument I hear about all the time about people choosing to drive in a ridiculous way, breaking laws. People use the same argument for helmet laws. Benji, we have government health care here. So when you hurt yourself, we pay for it with our tax money. You send emergency services from helping people who want to do the right thing to help you when you've done the wrong thing. And additionally, very rarely do the people who actually drive like morons cause injury only to themselves. They usually hurt other people who were not driving like morons. Let's see here. Oh, and then so this was a question about insurance. Benji says, insurance is already a scam. If I crash, I pay. Don't force me to get insurance. You have to, because it's not about you paying. You can be sued up to $2 million in the province of Ontario for collisions and injuries. And I'm assuming you don't have $2 million. Busy people who have $2 million are probably not on TikTok at 11 o'clock in the morning. I'm not bashing anybody who's on TikTok, but I'm just saying, if you got a spare $2 million, you could possibly self-insure, but that means you'd actually have to be able to pay it. Yeah. Let's see here. Scam. Okay. Moving on. Oh, wow. This is trying to scroll to actual questions here. Okay. Oh, I wonder, JD, did you see this? Maybe we should mute some people. All right, moving along. Let's see here. Oh my. Okay, there's I think a real question. What would the offense be if you stopped someone for an offense? Okay, they've already been muted. I'm just behind. Thank you very much, JD. I don't understand your question, Watchdog. What would the offense be if you stop someone for an offense? Okay. Let's see here. If an illegible plate cannot be used, should they be towed? There's no spare copy. This is Michael H. asking the question. I have no issue with the idea of towing them, but the law doesn't say we have to tow them. If they've been ticketed, can they drive away? Yeah. Got it. Thanks, JD. Yes. All right. The deal is that, I think towing would be a great solution, but it's not one that's reasonable. We'd be towing people all day long. So they're towed, and if they're not towed, they're ticketed, and if they get another ticket down the street, then they get 2 tickets, and so on and so forth. So Billy is talking about a lady who had called in, and I get the frustration. People want the license plates to be legible, and they are absolutely, it's a legitimate request. Yes. Okay. Is there a fine for having a new insurance slip in the vehicle before it's ready to use? No. Having a valid insurance slip is not an offense, even if you have 2 valid insurance slips. As long as there's actually insurance on the vehicle, having an additional slip that has not yet come into effect, as long as you have one that is in effect, that is not an issue. Okay. Oh, this is in terms of the windshield. I think protective. Oh, I'm gonna do a deep dive into Jeep no windshield. That's my little project for later. Scott says, as a follow-up, I've told everyone I know in my apartment building that they should not have plate covers, and they look at me like I'm stupid. Yeah, I listen, I get it. There's a big disconnect as to what is legally required, but everyone's got it, and people have had it for 30 years and never had an issue. It's not a high priority. It is a problem if it's blocking anything, and your mileage may vary, but I get it. It's hard to tell people things. I try. I still try. I get those looks too. Let's see here. Okay. Watchdog 5705 says, what would the charge be if you stop someone for an offense and during the stop they drive away and stop somewhere else because they didn't like where they were stopped? If they communicate, so if they just failed to stop and continued, well, they've effectively initiated a pursuit. If they stop and say, officer, I'm concerned for my safety, and I'd like to pull over there, a reasonable officer might allow that, depending on what the reason the stop was. If it was for impaired, that's a problem. If it was for, a taillight out, I'm going to tell them not to move their car because I have taken care of or factored in safety and parked my vehicle with full emergency lights on. But if they just choose to drive away anyway, if I've got their identification and all that, I don't really have a problem with it. It's if they've pulled away prior to, technically, if I've given them the direction not to and they choose to do it anyway, then what is it, ignoring or the direction of a police officer? That could be a charge. It's going to depend on context. When I lay the charge, I would probably tell them to pull off the highway if they want to. If they're really that concerned, I don't have a problem with it, as long as it's not an issue of them of an impairment. Reasonable cop do reasonable things. I'm sure we could find charges, but if I gave them a direction and they failed to listen to it, that's a problem. Appropriate speed for a roundabout, it should be slow. I think if you go to TIRF, TIRF.ca, on their website, I believe they think they estimated about 15, but you've got to get down to a pretty slow crawl on except for the big ones in order to do it safely. And that's how they govern and make it safe. 15 to 25, depending on where you are, is probably reasonable, but it depends. They want to know what is this? What did I just choose? I don't even know what it is. Apparently we've gotten back to the top. There was a question as to why I'm not at work. I am at work. This is work. Have you seen the Land Rover windshields with bluish tint? And I've seen the Mercedes with greenish tint, but I think it's actually the color of the glass. I've been meaning to, and I still haven't done it, go into these dealerships and have conversations about this to find out whether it's a tint or if it's baked into the glass, and that changes things. They'd have to be compliant in order to be sold here. Let's see here. Kayla has opinions of Brampton driving. So my tax dollars are going towards you sitting on TikTok. If you pay taxes, that's fantastic. I appreciate your contributions to what we do here. But yes, tax dollars, whether they're yours or somebody else's, are contributing to my salary. And part of my responsibilities as a police officer working in traffic safety programs is education. Education is a huge component of traffic safety. So this is something that we do. We're the biggest channel on TikTok for traffic education in the world. It's pretty crazy. We have 630,000-ish followers. I think we're at 629, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, we do this. So this is what I do. And the sidebar again. Okay. But our views are we have some videos that go into the millions. So can I use headphones while driving? Yes, you can. In Ontario, anyway. Other provinces do have rules against it, but in Ontario, it's not a requirement to have hearing. Now, it is a benefit, but it's not a requirement. So you can cover both ears here, but in other provinces, you may only legally be able to cover one ear. Can you ticket my kids in the back for unnecessary noise? That's an internal. The laws of their activity within your vehicle, Ben, is really you. I think you have to ticket them. I think that's the rule. Let's see. David Stark, hello, sir, coming in from LinkedIn. How hard is it to train How hard is it to train officers for traffic stops? Officers needing to replicate standing in the middle of an intersection. So we do a lot of scenario-based training in terms of pulling people over. We do this on the track at the OPC, the Ontario Police College. There's a situational awareness thing. How to stop the vehicle in order to protect yourself. We do it a lot, and so that there's a driving element of it, and then there's the whole interacting use of force and officer safety element of it. So how hard is it? I don't know. I've never trained anyone to do it because that's not been my role. But I imagine we all get it pretty quick because it's pretty simple when you realize how high risk it is to be standing on the road. You have a totally new appreciation for your own safety when you're out there doing traffic stops. It is a risky situation that you're in. But David Stark is with a company that does VR training systems. They use VR helmets to help police, fire, and other industries create very real life simulations. And I've had the opportunity to play with his training simulator, and it's awesome. So just saying. Let's see here. Pete says, remove this guy. I think the moderator's on it. What is this? If has not, what is, oh, you got a t-shirt? You're going to be a walking advert for Ask a Traffic Cop? Okay, I need pictures. All right. But I have been asked about merch. We don't have merch, but it would be awesome to have merch. What are the rules for turning left on a yellow at an intersection? You can enter the intersection, and if it turns yellow, because yellow means stop unless it is unsafe to do so, meaning you're traveling, you pass the point of no return, and you can't. Well, then you can, in fact, cross a yellow. For turning, we would be assuming your traffic speed would be low. So if you enter on a green, then you can actually continue through the intersection when it is safe to do so. So you're entered on a green, it turns yellow, turns red, you're obligated to exit. All right. Okay, question from Grace. What was the roundabout answer? I just missed it. I'm curious. If you're talking about speed, it really depends on what the speed and size of the roundabout is. But generally speaking, it's quite a slow speed in relation. It's a significant reduction in speed. I travel through some of them on a regular basis, and I'm doing 15 to 20 kilometers to get through those. But it's in a 40 zone. Now, people could obviously drive up to the speed limit. It's not an enforceable speed. It's about safety. So I would suggest going to turf.tirf.ca. They have great, actually, I'm going to go to turf.ca and I'll show you the document because I want to show you the amazingness that is turf. Why isn't it pre-filling? Turf.ca. I'll show you the page, and because they have this great info graphic. I'm biased because I work with them. They're just an amazing organization. Road Safety Insights. Okay. And we did a podcast episode with them. So here we go. Scrolling down. Where is it? View all topics? Maybe that's what I'm looking for. Road safety. Oh, come on. Pedestrians, motorcyclists, cyclists. Come on. Where is it? They've got so much. Where's the one for roundabouts? They've updated their website. Is this road safety? Maybe I'm on the wrong page. Insights. There we go. Da-da-da. Roundabouts. Hey, look at that. That's me talking about roundabouts. There we go. So it's this infographic that I think is great. Only enter when it's safe to do so. Observe lane. Where it's about 20 kilometers an hour, what they're suggesting. See? I remember stuff occasionally. All right. Did I miss the answer to my automatic headlight dimming question? I thought I just flagged it. Did I actually get it? So Deacon says, my Honda has an auto high beam. If it detects an oncoming car, it turns it off, then back on it. I've never seen that. But what a cool piece of technology that actually is good to have. Like, so many people are blinding oncoming traffic because of it. Okay. What if you have to slow because there's a car in front of you when you lane change? I don't understand the context of your question. Is it a seatbelt necessary for delivery driver while doing deliveries? If you're maintaining speeds under 40 kilometers an hour and you are constantly getting in and out of your vehicle because you're actively delivering, then you don't have to wear your seatbelt. It's actually right in the HTA. But that doesn't apply to everybody else. It's if you're actively engaged as a delivery driver, but only to a maximum of 40 kilometers an hour. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, I almost got that covered. Not understanding that comment. Moving on. What do you need to be a mechanic for TPS? We hire them on a regular basis. You need to be a mechanic. You got to pass some testing and make it through the interview and background process because you're still becoming a member of the Toronto Police Service. But when there are postings for it, you should apply if you are a mechanic looking to apply for such a thing. Okay. What happens to people when they drive in the bus lane? They get charged for likely disobey sign because there's bus lane signs everywhere. Okay. Can you if it's a 50-kilometer-an-hour zone, can you get a ticket for 5 over? Yes. If you speed 1 over, technically you can get a ticket for it because it's against the law to speed. When did Q&A stop working? Q&A doesn't work on Instagram, and it hasn't for a couple of weeks, so apologies. If you want to ask questions, jump over to either try it in the chat or jump over to the other platforms other than Twitter. Will cities eventually get rid of personal use vehicles? That's a speculation I can't even begin. I mean, we were talking about Time Cop or what was the other one? It was a really good. Anyway, there's all sorts of future movies and concepts that suggest that one day no one will own their own vehicle. They will simply call for one. It'll arrive and take them to wherever they need to go. Who knows? At what age does a police officer retire from the force? When they're lucky enough to. No, we have the ability to retire at our factor. So your age plus your years of service have to hit 85 combined, but that doesn't mean you have to retire. It used to be 65. They now extended it. You can actually work beyond that. Not a firefighter. What's going on? Good morning to you too, my friend. Good to see you. What happens when cars go in the bus lane? We talked about that. They get tickets. AS1 line. Thank you. I couldn't remember what that was. PS. I was totally going for PlayStation. Can you do 10 over the speed limit? Can you do it? Not legally. Legally is not going over the speed limit because there's a speed limit. It's kind of the whole point of having one is that you're not supposed to go above it. If you choose to go over it at any amount over, it's speeding. And the amount that you speed is only there to determine how much your fine is. So 1 or 10 or 20, your fine changes, but you'd still be convicted for the offense of speeding. Okay. So why is there a fast lane? Well, because not everybody goes at the speed limit. You can actually travel legally below the speed limit. So when I'm doing 90 and 100, someone who's doing 100 would pass me in the fast lane, which is not really a fast lane. It's just a lane to your left. It's not a lane intended for speeding. People go 120 in the fast lane. Okay, they do. They're breaking the law because the law says you can't speed, and they're speeding. They're breaking the law. There's no. I know the logic, right? People speeding. Why they do? I don't know why they do it. They want to increase their odds of getting involved in collisions and then increase the damage when they have collisions. It's bad. Okay. Jess has asked 3 times what happens when you drive in the bus lane. You get a ticket for driving in the bus lane. If it's a bus lane and you're not a bus, you'd be pulled over and you'd get charged. That's what happens. Let's see here. Cool. What did I just select? This is passing and past people going. Yes, that's exactly the answer. Thank you. Perfect. You're on it. That's it. Okay. Random says, nope, I've been pulled over for driving slower in an 80. What do you mean, nope? Well, I don't know where you are. But if the posted speed limit is 100, there is no law that says you must do 100. There is not a 100, like no, you're allowed to go below the speed limit. In fact, you're taught to do 10 kilometers below the speed limit for inclement weather at a minimum. So you should be doing no more than 90. In fact, I can charge you for careless driving if you're doing if you're going the speed limit in icy weather that everyone's with normal interpretations of what safe driving is. If everyone's doing 60 and you're doing 90, even though the speed limit is 90, you could be getting careless driving charges because based on the road conditions, it's not safe. So you can be charged for doing 80 somewhere, possibly maybe. Maybe if you're in the left lane, you should be in the right lane, but 20 under the speed limit is not against the law. What is this? What happens if we have cars in our apartment building parking lot that have no plate on them? That could be a bylaw violation. The city of Toronto has bylaws for unplated vehicles on driveways. I don't know about those, but it's probably an issue with your management company. I would bring it up with them. Greg wants to know if those automatic license plate, high beam dimming systems are illegal. I'm not aware of them being illegal. If they're available on systems that are sold in Ontario, they must be legal, because you shouldn't have features on cars that are not legal. And they make sense what is being described. I've just never seen one in action. I've passed cops in the boy. So the statement is, this person speeds regularly, and they've even passed police cars. Maybe those police cars had other things to do. Police cars, that said, are permitted to go over the speed limit. You're not. If you passed me, I would have pulled you over, and I have pulled people over for 120 regularly. Britt has a question. Okay. Hey, look at that. The perfect answer to that question. And again, the question is, why does everyone do 110 or 120? Because they are trying their luck. They're breaking the law, but they're trying their luck. I don't do 110 or 120. If it's 100, I do 100. Okay. Michelle says, not only are you doing your job, you're doing it fantastically. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Hey, since I'm doing a fantastic job, what I was going to say is, as I made it awkward, if you don't already follow us, please do. Hit follow on whatever platform you're on, and you can also follow us everywhere. In fact, if you want to find some great information that might help answer some questions that you may need answering to, let me put this on the screen, because I have trafficcop.ca. What is trafficcop.ca? Well, it is my link tree, and on that link tree, I provide you with access to information. Informatia. Let's see here. What can we tell you? Well, you have access to all of our different pages and our podcasts, our social media, but I also have here useful links, and that's what I want to bring to your attention. Making police reports, starting collision reports for pedestrians and cyclists, so you have less to do when you get to the reporting center. The handbook for getting a motorcycle license, for driving, for the driver's handbook. Driver's license check is one that I love. If you're going to loan your car to a friend, you know that if they're not licensed, but they said they were, you're responsible as the owner of the motor vehicle to ensure that they're licensed. Well, how do you do that? Because you can be charged if they're unlicensed driving your car. Yeah, you get a ticket for that. But if you check the driver's license check, which is a government website and it's free, you can make sure the license is valid. I personally don't like the idea of loaning vehicles to friends, because when they smash them, your rates go up, and it's a bad day at the office. But anyway, it's another story. Signing up for renewals for your license plate, your health card, and your driver's license, you can do that here. Of course, you can go directly to renew your license as well. Descriptions on how to merit points work. Choosing a car seat if you're a parent or you're going to be transporting kids. Let's see here. Cycling in the law, e-bike and kick scooter rules. And if you're going to buy a vehicle, make sure it's not stolen. Check here. Check here before you buy. It'll tell you whether or not the VIN is on the list of vehicles currently wanted. If you're new to the province or the country, you can check to see about driving laws here and whether your license is going to be accepted. All sorts of great stuff. Trafficcop.ca. And it's just sending you to good information. We're not selling you anything. Okay. I'm going to try and scroll real quick because we're at 11:30, which is 30 minutes longer than I thought I'd be here. Let's see here. I love everyone says, everyone does it. Everyone's doing it. It should be legal for me too. Holy moly, Aaron Urquhart. Hey, it's been a while since I've jumped into a live chat. You know what? Welcome back. Aaron has been taking a break doing all sorts of stuff. We often rotate between roles and do different things. So Aaron's been off doing other stuff and is now back on social media. Welcome. We've missed you. Let me know when you're available to come into the show. We have a live segment. And Jerry Agar specifically, not this time but last time, asked for you to come back on the radio. So we need to set that up. People want to know about parking. They do. And somebody wants to call me. And I'm going to decline that because I can't actually answer it. Okay. Moving on. Trying to scroll up ahead. moving out. Okay, we got interesting messaging. By the way, if you don't already follow Erin.Urquhart on TikTok, she is a parking enforcement officer and does what I do on that side of the house. We have the same boss, but we do different, we cover different topics. Yeah. Let's see here. How long does the speeding ticket stay on your record? The long-term record, the abstract that is lifelong, we see forever and ever and ever. The one that insurance companies sees keeps convictions for 3 years. Yes. Okay. Looking for faces, and user says hi. So hello to you too. Interesting. So reflective material would not be legal because you can't prohibit people from seeing inside. You can't do that. So that might be an issue. Maybe these vehicles are illegal. If it's something being applied at the dealership, it's absolutely illegal. Lost an Indian passport at the airport, you need to put a report in. You need to report that to local police. If you were at the airport, you could have done that at the airport. Peel Regional Police are there. But you should definitely make a report and then talk to your embassy. Is having reflective tint on your windshield an obstruction of your windshield? If it's not reflective on the way out, it's not an obstruction for out. But if it's a charge, it's a charge under obscuring the interior of the motor vehicle, because you can't prevent people from seeing inside. It would be a $110 charge if we couldn't see inside. Boy, somebody really upset about the fact that everyone gets away with speeding all the time. You're right. We have to do much more enforcement. In fact, I'm looking forward to what do you call it? Automated enforcement. I think we should have camera enforcement on every street, everywhere. And I think if you go over the speed limit at all, you should just get a ticket in the mail. Wouldn't that be great? We'd have much safer roads. Let's see here. Moving on. Okay. Where can I find Highways of Heroes windshield stickers? I have no idea, but I want one. So if you find it, let me know. I would totally get one of those. I just don't know where you get them. I'm going to Google that now. You know, Highway of Heroes. Need stickers. I could probably make one. Let's see here. Gray says, I think I'd be scared if I got pulled over on the highway, if I got stopped on the highway. Getting stopped can be, listen, if I see lights behind me, I get nervous. Why? Because what did I do? I must have done something. And sometimes I've been pulled over just to be told that there was something wrong, or there was a light out. Like courteous, nice police officers just trying to help. I've been very fortunate my entire life prior to being a police officer. It's always been good. Even when I've been in the wrong and got a ticket as a kid, they've been good experiences. If a cop texts and drives and says it's duty related, am I allowed to ask them to prove it? No. You have no authority to do anything. You can make a complaint and it will be investigated. And, there's a process for that, but you have absolutely no authority to question a police officer about what they're doing. You can't stop them. You can ask them, and he tells you, but no, there's no obligation to prove to you who doesn't like that the police are doing something. You absolutely can complain, and there is a process. And if they're not in the right, there's a potential that something would happen from there. Do you have to believe them? You don't have to believe them, but it's really none of your business. There's no authority for you. People get so busy about everybody else. We're the police. We're actually, paid to be in your business. But I say that. I appreciate why you'd want to know. It's not safe. It's not safe, and we acknowledge it. We have the authority to do it because we're not ordering pizza. We're getting vital information to traffic officer in public safety. That's one of our, this one isn't my police phone. My police phone is currently broadcasting on TikTok, but my police phone, this is the same. I communicate with dispatch on my police phone. I can look up information. I can run plates. I do all this stuff that I have to do as a police officer. It's for police work. Let's see here. I don't know what this user is asking about. Grace, this comment section is definitely interesting. You know, it's funny. I love the fact that TikTok can now go direct. And at the same time, I question if I want to see some of these conversations I've been missing for so long, but they're kind of fun. 633,000, very cool. We're at 633,000 followers on TikTok. Thanks for letting me know. Can you signal with your hazard lights? Yeah, true, JD. Can you signal your four-way hazard lights that you've seen the officer's lights and are going? You need to pull over. Legally, you need to pull over immediately. Yeah, that's what you do, safely and immediately. Just traveling with your hazard lights on, aimlessly looking for a better place. You don't get to pick the parking. You need to pull over. How hard is it to get into the Ontario Police College? Not hard. You walk through the front doors. If you're already hired by a police service, you have to be hired by a police service, effectively sponsored, and then you can go in. Can you drink non-alcoholic beer when you drive? It's not illegal if it's got no alcohol in it. Alex Silva says, hey, and I say, hey back. Okay. Let's see here. 2 questions. I see a lot of people driving alone or driving by themselves in the HOV lane. Okay, that's an observation. Is there a question in that? The deal is that if you are driving a limo, driving a taxi, driving a bus, if you're driving an electric vehicle or hybrid, plug-in hybrid, or qualifying vehicle, then you're allowed to. You have to have green plates on the plug-in vehicles and the electric vehicles to qualify. But there are a number of vehicles that people can use those lanes with. Question of how long have I been a cop? So I've been with the Toronto Police Service for soon to be 24 years. I joined in 2000. I was an auxiliary officer. I was a court officer the same year. So I had 2 different roles, paid and volunteer. And then in 2012, I became a police officer. Or at least I joined. I went from being a supervisor in courts and a sergeant in the auxiliary to becoming a police cadet. So, yeah, since then. Let's see here. Questions about driving themselves. Okay, so that we covered this. Was there a second? Oh, second question. Are motorcycles allowed in the HOV lane by themselves? Yes, and I think it was since it's either 2017 or 2007. Whatever it was, it is now legal for a motorcycle operator to be solo on a motorcycle in the HOV. That is now legal on 400 series. And if you look at the ones in the city, those are multi-use diamond lanes. Yes, they can be, in fact, on those if the sign allows. Okay, going to wind this down, but I got a couple more questions. If in Toronto, can a Hamilton police officer stop me or out of their area? Toronto can pull you over anywhere in Ontario. If we're out there and we have police authority anywhere in the province, can we stop you? Yes. Would we issue a ticket if we were in Hamilton? Probably not. We'd probably call a Hamilton officer to issue the charge so that you would attend a Hamilton court. And that it's about being most practicable. If we write you a ticket to Toronto, it's going to come to a Toronto court, and that would make you drive all the way back. But do we have the lawful authority to stop you? Yes. If you are stopped in your car and on a cell while stopped, is that distracted driving? If you are not legally parked, meaning you are not in a place where you could get out of your car, leave your car, and come back later to get it, that is actually against the law. Now, if your vehicle is disabled, if the vehicle is broken down, that's a legitimate reason. You cannot move your car. You're calling for emergency assistance. However, if you are pulling over on the side of the highway, it's against the law to park on the highway, so you cannot use your phone there. I see people doing it all the time, but it's against the law. Buy a Bluetooth. Get a speaker system. Don't touch your car, your phone in the car. Mount it somewhere. What's happening? Let's see here. Jurisdiction. Okay. So Scott wants to know about pulling, example, on the highway near an off-ramp and choose to pull off the highway for a traffic. We as police officers will pull you over. You got to pull over there. If you pull off the highway, you've technically created a pursuit situation, even though it's happened and people have not been charged for it because it's somewhat reasonable, but it's not the way it should be. It could escalate matters, and just don't do it. Pull over immediately. If you have concerns for safety, we can relocate after you've made the initial stop, or we've made the initial stop. Moving on. I love that TikTok is now here. It is definitely more difficult to get through all the questions. If I see a semi swerving all over the highway, should I report it? That's a possible impaired driver or medical issue. If you think lives are at risk, and if I saw a semi swerving all over the highway, I would call 911 too. So yeah. And very accurate answer. You're allowed to be on the phone only if you're calling 911 for an emergency, if not hands-free. Absolutely correct. Okay. See, look at this. Everyone's on the money here. Could be an impaired or a danger to other drivers. Yes. Are the yellow signs for exit ramps limits or suggestions? There's suggestions from those wonderful engineers that tell you that if you go faster than that, you might lose traction and end up off the road. Are they enforceable? No, we don't write tickets for those. But is it a good idea? That's probably a good idea. All right. I'd love to keep going. Oh, but this is a really good question. What's my favorite donut? My favorite donut is a raspberry-filled Krispy Kreme, but I'm not doing donuts. Yeah, no, I'm not having donuts. But that would be my donut of choice if I was having donuts. Would you get in trouble for not moving over for an emergency vehicle if there's a car in my way? Depends what you're talking about. You're talking about slow down, move over rules. So where you're required to like pull over to the next lane unless it's blocked, at which point you have to just slow down and move over as much as practicable. That's one thing. But if you don't pull over and stop, either way you can get charged. So yeah, there a car in the way, like I'm not really picking up what you're putting down. Like keep going, pull over to the next available spot if there's a car beside you. There's no reasonable excuse for not pulling over. Okay. Moving on. Who wants to know about Nietzsche? Oh. Akela shared a Nietzsche quote. Perhaps there's a realm of wisdom from which the logician is exiled. This is definitely an interesting quote. Where are you coming out of here? This is like out of left field. Okay. Talking about jammers and radar detectors, absolutely illegal. This goes on forever. Let's see what's going on here. Is it busy? It is a busy day. This is good. All right, I'm scrolling down to look if there's anything. Oh, Ali wants to know, why don't we make a legal fast lane? I don't know. Maybe because the legal fast lane has a maximum speed already. Let's see here. Scrolling down for stuff we haven't talked about. Can I get pulled over for doing 120, but the speed of traffic is doing 20? Yes, you're doing 20 over. You can totally get pulled over and charged for it. Oh, I love this question. You may have answered this prior, but what about people carrying their pets in their laps? Why not fined? They do. We charge for careless driving or drive while crowded. It's illegal either way. It's unsafe for you. It's unsafe for everyone else on the road because they're interfering with your ability to safely operate your vehicle. And it's unsafe for a pet in the event that you're in a collision. They will get very, very unalived. Those airbags deploy at 200 miles per hour. That'd make a squishy, fluffy missile. Bad things. Bad things happen. What happens if you don't pay your parking tickets on time? You'll be convicted, and eventually your license plate will be suspended. You won't be able to renew. It will be the first part, and it really goes on. They can suspend your plate. It's probably the wrong word for it, but yeah. Get parking in the new truck. Okay. See, look at this. My audience is awesome. Oh, interesting question. I'm doing 120 behind a cop that's also doing 120. Could I get pulled over? You can get pulled over for just doing 120 behind us. We could hang back and charge you. You're not allowed to speed. We are. Police are exempt from speed laws. We are allowed to exceed the speed limit in the lawful execution of our duties. You are never allowed to speed because it's illegal. Okay. Moving along. Okay, Grace wants to know if there should be a law that truckers are only allowed to drive in the slow lane. So technically, there's a law already that you cannot be in the left 2 lanes as a commercial motor vehicle, not just trucker, but commercial motor vehicle. So, and I wasn't even aware of this. I grew up thinking they couldn't be in the passing lane. Sergeant Campbell looked things up and says you can't be in the leftmost lanes, 2 leftmost, and that's commercial. That's a wide sweeping, lots of vehicles that have qualified for that. I don't see that being enforced. For the longest time, again, left lane is what I thought, and then I was told signage is posted in many areas for it. I've never really spent a lot of time focusing on commercial motor vehicles, but I think it's interesting, and there's lots to learn there. That is not my forte. TPS Recruiting needs to start a channel similar to this one. I think they do occasional lives on Instagram. But we've had them on the show. There's actually an episode of TPS Traffic Jam where they joined. So we've had them on before. Maybe we'll have them on again. Best place to park for a Leafs game? I have no idea. Parking, I would take the transit. I would take TTC. Okay. Sean, can a Hamilton police officer stop me in Toronto? Is there a jurisdiction issue? Again, they can pull you over. Lawful authority to do so. They're police officers in the entire province. In terms of issuing the ticket, they'd call one of us to lay the charge. And they'd be a witness on it. So, Ali, there we go. I think people who have proven they can drive safely at higher speeds should have a specific license. It doesn't work that way. The problem is that they may think they're the best driver, but they really aren't necessarily the best driver. I have friends that are licensed race car drivers, instructors, professionals, and they wouldn't drive this way because you know what the biggest problem about driving fast is? There's other people on the road. And those people may be horrible drivers, even if you're a good one. And again, most people think they're good and they're not. So how does one prove? And then if you're going to put them on a highway that's only good drivers, we're still going to have problems. I don't see that being a thing. It's not my game. Somebody else could write new rules, but I don't think that would work. Okay. Would it be illegal to install a high flow downpipe as long as a high flow catalytic converter if it was a legal one, it would be legal. It has to meet regulation. I don't know what that specifically states, but yeah, you can have a high flow cat as long as it's legal. Can I get those stickers? What stickers? Shouldn't punish anyone. What do you mean shouldn't punish everyone? Yeah, everyone should go the right speed. No one should speed. Anyone who speeds should get punished. It's not about certain people being allowed to speed and not others. No one should be speeding. You don't get anywhere that much faster anyway. You need extended driving at high speed to actually get legit benefits to it. But if you're doing 20 over for 30 kilometers, you're getting there a couple minutes earlier. All you've done is increase your crash risk and the potential damage and injury risk. Do you play GTA RP? The voice sounds familiar. I don't. What is it? What is GTA? That's Grand Theft Auto? I don't play it. I really don't have time to play anything. But I was playing Call of Duty Mobile for a while, and I got to legendary status and was playing in a trying to get into I was going to say playoffs, but a big game, international, what is it called? Championship. But I haven't played in a long time. I got no time. I'm a dad. Okay. Moving through. And I am going to call it now. And the answer to Greg is yes. I'll be back tomorrow, will I? Hang on. Tomorrow's Thursday, and I have an event at 5. I think I'm back in time for the show. So we're going to say yes to show at 10 o'clock. If I have to push it, check online because I think we're done at 8 o'clock. I'll be back. 10 o'clock tomorrow, we'll have a show. We'll do that thing. Do I ride a motorcycle in my personal time? I did. I've been riding since I was 16, and I have stopped riding because I had a crash in 18, and I am broken as a result of it, so I've not been riding. But I love riding. And here we go. We'll have that song, and we'll be back tomorrow.
Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow. pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt, save your life indeed. And watch your driving, don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Don't drink and drive or smoke some weed, because you might go to jail and not get free. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow.
And that's all, folks. Or is it ibity? That's all, folks? Yeah. All right. I love that there's so many questions here. Oh, Kyle Hawking, as I totally was saying goodbye. If you're involved in a hit-and-run collision, that wasn't your fault, but the other vehicle flees, assuming you got the plate. What can police do without dash cam footage or a witness? We investigate. We take a report. We contact the other party. If it was a serious collision with major injuries, it'll change the response. But ultimately, for a minor one, we'll reach out to the other vehicle owner, and an investigation will be done. But if it's involving a fatality or serious injuries, it's going to be an immediate response. We'll be looking for everything. Obviously, minor collisions, different priority. But Kyle, feel free to reach out. Kyle is a media guy, so feel free to reach out if you got more questions. Okay. Yeah, I was going to say goodbye, and then I saw him pop up there with a big old question. All right. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe. Drive sober. Park legally, and we'll be back tomorrow. Stay safe.